Okay, right. May as well get started. So, first things first. Who watched the video I sent? Winter, tell me about the video.
I see the grasshopper kicking many animal buttons. Later, the ladybird make the grasshopper jump into the hole.
Yeah, I
And
know. Yeah,
it can fill the hole.
it's funny, right? There's loads of those videos. There's about 3 or 4 seasons of them, and they're all great. They're all really funny. So, Winter, tell me an interaction that you saw between a biotic and abiotic factor.
I see the grasshopper.
Okay, but what did the grasshopper do to the fly?
I think it just kicked the fly, the ant, the spider, the butterfly. Lots of it.
Plan B. Where did the grasshopper kick the fly?
Grasshopper kicked the fly into the hole, into the river.
Into the river, okay? So there you go. There's one interaction, the fly interacting with the water. What happens when the fly goes into the water?
He died.
It dies, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, that is 100% an interaction, right? That is an animal interacting with water. Sometimes some animals should not be in water. Anyone else watch the video and tell me an interaction that they saw? Yeah, Lambi.
The grasshopper kicked all of the animals are insects.
What did the ladybird do to the grasshopper? Where did the grasshopper fall into? Like Thailand B.
The grasshopper fall into the hole.
Okay, fall into the hole. What was the hole made out of? It's made of soil, right? So there you go. You have another interaction. You have the ladybird digging a hole in the soil and the grasshopper falling into the hole made of the soil. That's an interaction, okay? Something that's alive and something that's not alive interacting together to make something happen. That's in essence an ecosystem. Yes, okay, it's a bit funny because I don't think a grasshopper digs holes or a ladybird digs holes to catch grasshoppers, but that's just an idea, all right, of how living things and non-living things can work together. Okay, let's have a little review quizzes. Which is an abiotic factor that most limits the number of frogs living in a pond, the temperature of the water, okay? So the color of the water, is that really gonna make frogs think like, oh, I don't wanna live here? The number of predators, well, predators, as we said, were biotic factors. Temperature of the water, okay. The population of producers, again, that is to do with biotic factors. So the only two that were pure abiotic, nothing to do with living things, were the color of the water and the temperature of the water. I don't think frogs have that much issue with what color the water is, to be honest. They're frogs. So temperature of the water is the only one that would make sense there. Okay, so this, once you see this, you know it's biotic. This is biotic, and we're looking for abiotic only. Okay, let's see what else do we got here. The non-living parts of an ecosystem are abiotic factors. Biotic factors, who wrote that? An abiotic part of an ecosystem has a form. So as soon as it's sunlight, good stuff, well done. An abiotic part of an ecosystem, the gas is called oxygen. Biotic factors, abiotic part of an ecosystem, 3 people wrote the biotic factors. Read the question, place where an animal or organism lives with its shelter and food is its habitat, not its ecosystem. The living part of an ecosystem, biotic factors, good stuff. Okay. Okay, not too bad. Could be better. Maybe we need to do some more review. Okay, so last week we spoke about what were biotic and abiotic factors and how they start to influence each other, particularly in an ecosystem. So to quickly review what they are, biotic factor is any living part within an ecosystem or environment. So if you were to look at some examples here on my screen, biotic are living things, plants, protists, fungi, bacteria, animals. These are all living things in an ecosystem. And then you have abiotic, the non-living things, water, soil, air. soil, rocks, sunlight. All these things are not alive, but they in some way interact with these living things. Plants need water, light, soil, and air. Animals need water, light, soil, air. Some need rocks. Bacteria need water, light, soil, air. Fungus need water, light, soil, air. Some need rocks as well. So they all interact in some way together. And together they make up an ecosystem. We say the ecosystem is the interaction between these two. Sense equals ecosystem. When we have water, soil, light, rocks, air interacting with animals in this, that's when we could get an ecosystem created. It's how those two work together in some particular way. So let's keep going on, okay? Because I want to get to something new. So different ecosystems have different abiotic factors. There's many types of ecosystem, right? There's water, there's desert, there's mountains, there's forests, there's jungles, there's ponds, there's river, there's lakes, there's cities, there's grassland, there's wetlands, there's swamps, there's marsh. We could go on for days and days and days and talk about all the many different types of ecosystem, but they all have different abiotic factors. Okay, so let's look at this, right? Let's look at take the desert for example. What are some abiotic factors in a desert? What are the non-living parts of a desert? Joey, what's one non-living part of a desert?
The non-living part of the desert is sand.
Yeah, sand, definitely good stuff. Rosie, when you think about the abiotic factors in a desert, what can you say about the temperature?
Very hot.
Yeah, it's very hot, right? So the temperature is very, very hot. Something else about a desert. It's hot, it's sandy, what else?
Dry. We don't have any water.
Yeah, it's dry, not that much water. What about at nighttime? What's a desert like at nighttime? Pumpkin.
It's cold.
Yeah, it's cold. It's really cold. So during the day, deserts are really hot, but at nighttime, they're actually really, really cold. So if you think about all these different abiotic factors, it's sandy, it's very dry, there's not much water. It's pretty open, right? There's lots of space there. They're pretty big. There's lots going on. They're also pretty windy, very sandy. There's lots of these things going on, right? They're all abiotic factors of a desert and a desert alone. Let's do one more. Let's go for this one. Let's go for the grasslands. Oh, stop. What about these grasslands here? These savanna plains. What's a plain? I call them savanna plains. What does it, when I say the word plains, what do I mean? So a plain is a very wide open area of land. And they are also associated with having a lot of wildlife, animals that live there, because it's wide and it's open, and there's lots of grass, there's lots of areas for the animals to run around and be safe and to find stuff to eat. Okay, what other abiotic factors can you find in kind of grassland savanna areas? What can you see even from that picture? Cherry, what can you see in that picture that's a non-living thing?
Sand. Only sand.
Okay, right, fine, I'll explain it for you very quickly, so I want to move on. So if you take a grassland, a plain, right, if you think about the abiotic factors in it, you can say, one, it's not that hot, okay? It's hot enough, but it's not too hot. That there is access to water, even though the access to water is not that big, okay? As you can see, there's lots of animals here in the water, but there's not that much water. It's wide and it's open and it has lots of space for lots of plants and vegetables. It's not that windy. You can see that because the trees are not shaped weirdly. You can also get that the soil is very rich, okay? The soil is very good because there's lots and lots of grassland there. So you can make all these decisions and assumptions based on one picture about all the abiotic factors, like the wind, like the water, like the soil, just by looking at what's there and what's around. What I want to do is look at deserts, right? Make a list of the abiotic factors of a desert. Now, we looked at this just a second ago, so it's not that hard. So deserts are high temperature. There is not much rain. They're very dry. They're sandy. They're cooler underneath the sand. They can be very windy and they are very open. Now, how do the biotic factors, the biotic parts of a desert ecosystem adapt to survive these abiotic factors? What do they do? Who can tell me what some animals do to survive in deserts? Hacker, is that your hand?
Animals just sleep in the morning and pounding the tubes at night.
Yeah, okay, cool. Pumpkin, what else do some other animals do?
The animal use the cactus to take water.
So yeah, some use cactus to take water. So I'm going to give you all some examples. I'm going to show you some, okay? So To give you a description of a desert, just so you know, it's a lifeless area of land with little rain. There is a lack of plant and animal life, meaning the ground is covered in sand. It's a process called denudification. So, yeah, we'll go through this next day. So I want to quickly give you an example of some animals, okay? So this is a fennec fox. Super cute little animal. Looks really nice, really furry. So you know, foxes come from the same species as dogs. So foxes are actually really good pets. If everyone ever wanted to adopt an animal, a fox is a really good pet. But they're really noisy. So a fennec fox lives in a desert ecosystem. They have furry feet. You see their feet? They're actually really furry, so that when they touch the sand, their feet don't get burnt by the hot sand. They have really big heat radiating ears, so that their internal body heat doesn't get too high. It all comes out of their ears, so they don't get too hot. And they have really pale fur for camouflage, so that when they are hunting, they eat scorpions and smaller animals, that they won't be able to see them basically coming, because they can blend into the sand and the surroundings. Okay, so that's just one fox, right? So if you look at their furry feet, this is for their sand. Heat radiating ears is for the temperature, and pale fur, that's also for the sand as well. So there's ways that they have taken the abiotic factors in a desert ecosystem and used them for their benefit to survive there. Okay, another one is, it's a house finch. Okay, it's another animal that lives in the desert. What they do is that they lay their eggs in cool places. Okay, so they find cool places in the desert, and what they do is they lay their eggs there. And as their eggs, if they need more heat or they need to be colder, they find different places and they move their eggs there as well. And they also have very strong feet, so they can stand on the spines of desert plants. Desert plants are kind of pointy, right? They don't want animals to come any near them. But this particular type of bird has got really strong feet, so it doesn't get hurt by these pointy bits and these spines. So there's two animals that live in the desert. Completely different. One's a fox, one's a bird. But they both do two completely different things which allow them to survive in a desert ecosystem. So for your homework, what I want you to do is choose an animal that lives in the desert. Any animal at all. A snake, a scorpion, a meerkat, a camel spider. Anything you want at all. Completely up to you. Draw me a picture. Draw me a nice, pretty, wonderful, beautiful picture. Please do not draw me a picture of a spider, but you can draw one if you want to. I just won't look at it. Draw a picture and also explain about its adaptations that allow it to survive in the desert.